Well, hello YouTube. Yes, I am a real person. And, yes, once again, I'm going to be very opinionated. I finally managed to find a webcam, so, taking inspiration from a few other people, Annie, I'm looking at you, I've decided to actually talk when I rant instead of just be sarcastic by text. But let's face it, it's far more interesting. I mean, who wouldn't want to look at me? Oh dear, did I just say that out loud? Anyway, I've completely unscripted. This isn't scripted in the slightest, so I may I may I may tangent. God's help you all of a tangent. Seriously. But I'm making this up as I go along. But today I'm going to be having a little fun rant on the underloved characters of the world. You know the sort, the characters that are thrown in just to pad out the party. Gain a quick subplot maybe somewhere in disc 2 just to pretend that they care about them. And then really just disappear, never to be seen again in the storyline. Let's take a few classic examples, shall we? Final Fantasy IX. I suppose the main example there would be Freya. Let's face it. Meet Freya. She has the quick subplot in Bermesia, where she meets Fratley, and then, do we ever hear from her again? No. She's completely ignored by Square for the rest of the game. Oh, except for, of course, the quick token scene at the end, but let's face it, who doesn't get that? Even Kina gets that. I mean, come on. Freya, so much to work with, so little you get. Could have done so much more with her. Same with Amarant, really. I mean, you've rich, detailed... Well, okay, I say rich, detailed backstory. It's not that rich, but still. It's more than can be said for a lot of characters. And yet, apart from his brief foray in Ipsen's castle, he doesn't really get fleshed out at all. I mean, the closest thing he has to a story is the fact that he hates children. I mean, really? Is that the best you could do, Square? Show your characters some love. I'm not going to get started on Kina, because Kina wasn't loved to begin with. They didn't even pretend there. Of course, Final Fantasy VIII was the real culprit for this. Let's face it, apart from Squall and Rinoa, they ignored pretty much every character in there. Let's face it, did Keistis, Selphie, Irvine or Zell ever get any plots of their own? Hell, even Cypher had more plot time than most of those characters. Morg had more plot time than some of those characters. I mean, sure, Selphie, brief trivia garden bit when she's the party leader, and the missile base, she's probably got the most of the four of them. Keistis, meh. You got a bit of a backstory, but let's face it, Squall doesn't listen, do we? No. She might as well be talking to a brick wall. And poor Irvine, he doesn't even have a... They don't even give him that. We learn he cracks under pressure, and that's about it. They could have given him a storyline, but no, they didn't. And don't get me started on Zell. I despise that type of character. So, moving swiftly on. Again, 7, not much better. Sid... Again, brief subplot with the rocket. Red, brief subplot in Cosmo Canyon. Barrett, brief subplot in North Coral. Yuffie, brief subplot in Wutai. Can you see where this is going? Still, they did better than most. They managed to give Vincent some subplot, even if it did take them 3 games and a movie to actually make them pretend that they cared about him. Curse you fangirls everywhere. 10, also the same. I'm not going to go into that one, because, well, I despise the main character and everything he stands for. 12 as well, that kind of ignored. That 12, I'm going to give that one a special mention for being the only one where the main character is an underloved character. Let's face it, Vaughn has no storyline. He doesn't even have a subplot to his name. Neither does Pinello. Neither does Bash, neither does Balthier, neither does Ash. Neither does... To be honest, none of the characters in that are really well fleshed out. That was a terrible game for characters. Let's just go before I end up... I could spend a whole rant just slagging off 12, and then a whole other rant slagging off Tidus, but that's besides the point. And I'm fully aware that I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Tidus, but I don't like him enough to care. But obviously, it'd be a bit narrow if I just ranted about Final Fantasy, being as opinionated as I am. So, I'm going to also rant about some of the underloved characters in some of the random shows that people have been forcing me to watch. I've actually been forced into watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX recently, and it strikes me as very odd how underloved a certain Bastion Misawa is. Yes, I use the dub names for anybody who knows what I'm talking about. Woe is you. But, I mean, Bastion, he shows up as a generic bystander every so often. I think he actually gets a spotlight episode about once a season, and they actually cut him out of the entire 4th season. He's not in it at all. His entire showing in the 4th season is as a silhouette briefly after the final battle, and basically every character in the show shows up at that point. So he's not really saying much. To be honest, he's barely in the 3rd season either. He disappears about halfway through and then turns back up for half an episode at the end. Oh, I despise that Amazon who turned him into a sex toy. Really not good. Really, really not good. Oh, here I go, I'm tangenting, aren't I? I was planning on avoiding this, but it doesn't appear to have happened. Oh, let's see what other games come to mind that I could rant about. Let's see, I think I'll stick to the Japanese RPGs, because, let's face it, when does an American RPG actually develop the characters? It's not part of the specification, although Dragon Age Origins wasn't too bad for it. At least gave the characters some personalities. Oh, see, I'd mentioned Chrono Trigger, but the characters didn't really have that in-depth backgrounds anyway. I think the only one who really had a decent background was Frog. Says it all, really. The Frog has the most background. Oh, sod it, I'll rant about GX. But, oh, the plot lines in that make no sense. But then again, I think I'll save that for a separate rant. I could have a whole rant on that, just on the plot lines of GX. And the hair. Oof. I'd kill a bedhead this morning. Oh, great, now I really am rambling. Oh, God, now I'm saying her as well. Annie, I blame you. If you even watch this. I think are you subscribed to me? If not, I'll send you the video. I'll force you to watch it. Well. I'm sure I had something else to ramble about, but I can't think what it was. No, I have no idea. Oh, and if you're wondering about the weird angle, the camera keeps falling over. Just ignore it. No, I think that's everything. No. Rate, comment, review, whatever you feel like. Flame me if you want. I can flame back. I don't care. They'll give me something to do. I mean, I'm ranting for YouTube. I clearly have nothing better to do with my life. Oh well. Well, hopefully, if people actually, surprisingly, like these, I may do more. I may even take requests. I may do one about sexism in Final Fantasy. What do you think? Oh well. Annie, again, I blame you. And this is Kiel, even though it's not actually my name, but as far as the internet is concerned, that's all you're getting. This is Kiel, signing off.